Look, buddy, we have the Dubia, the Zen, the Glass, the Apex, the Eco. Which one would be your overall pick? What's going on, everybody? In this video, we're going to talk about the top 5 enclosures that you might want to consider when housing your leopard gecko 40 gallons or larger. This is Pikachu, and he's one of my oldest and nicest and sweetest leopard gecko boys that I have. You can see he always is good for kisses. I wanted to see if maybe he could balance right here because he's always such a calm boy. So maybe he'll just like stay right there. He's a little out of focus though. Boom, look at him. He's in focus now. Hi, buddy. All right, we'll leave him there for a second. So we're going to judge these cages based on 6 categories that I came up with: visibility, durability, functionality, stackability, size. I know that's not an ability, right? I was going to go sizeability, and affordability. The 5 enclosures that we'll be rating are going to be 40 gallon front opening glass tank, Zen habitats, wood/PVC enclosure, new age pet EcoFlex PVC enclosure, Apex PVC enclosure, and Dubia PVC enclosure. So our first category, visibility. It's almost hard to deny that out of 5 stars, a glass tank is going to always score 5 out of 5 on visibility. There's just something about the beauty of a glass tank and being able to see your reptiles from any angle or any direction. Next, I would place the Zen habitat with 4 stars for visibility because out of all the PVC cages, it has the largest front and it's a full glass front, and you'll see why that's important here down the line as I rate these cages. Dubia enclosures would have the 3rd most visibility because they also have a full glass front, which is very cool in my opinion, and personally that's kind of the direction that I like a little bit more. Apex cages would be rated with 2 stars in the category of visibility along with all these other tanks because it doesn't have the lowest amount of visibility, but out of all of these options, the size of the panel on the front offers just a little bit less visibility when compared to these other options that came before it. Hi, Pikachu. You giving me little neck kisses over there? Pikachu's so sweet. And lastly, for visibility, rated with 1 star would be the new pet EcoFlex cage. And although I think this is a cool new innovative cage that you could get from Amazon and you could pay off with monthly payments and free shipping from Amazon, it does have the lowest level of visibility. It has higher borders and smaller glass on the front, so you aren't going to be able to see your animals as well in there. Okay, so next category for durability, 5 out of 5 stars goes to Apex cages. If you go to apexreptile.com, you can see the way their cages are designed, and whenever they go to the California Super Show or the Phoenix Reptile Expo or any expo they go to, they really make a big show out of just how durable their cages are by like walking on top of them and sitting on top of them. So the thickness of the PVC that you're getting with Apex and the strength of the latches and all of that is going to be way stronger than what you're going to be getting with the other stuff. And that's one of the points in speaking to the owners of Apex, that they really want to be a differentiating factor. They don't want to be a cheaply made enclosure. They could make enclosures that way, but they want to focus on pristine durability and long-lasting quality. So the next rating in durability would be Zen habitats. I should just mention the weight of these cages real quick. So a 40-gallon breeder weighs about 60 pounds. A Zen habitat, the specific model that we're talking about here, the 4 foot by 2 foot by 16 inch high, which I think is actually a really good size, is 30 pounds. The EcoFlex is 25 pounds, and the Apex and Dubia didn't have a weight on their website, so I wasn't able to tell how much they weigh. Now, there might be a little bit of nuance here that I need to consider because even though the Zen habitat says that it weighs more, we're gonna reposition Pikachu here. Take one more up close look at his cute little face. Get one more little kiss from Pikachu. Thanks, buddy. So the Zen habitat is a little bit bigger gallon for gallon, and we'll go over that later. So that's where the weight might be coming from. But I'm pretty sure everyone that I've talked to that has had Zen habitats has no complaints about their durability. So I put that as a 4-star rating for that. The next would be a 3-star rating for the EcoFlex, because although it is cheaper on Amazon to buy the EcoFlex, and we're going to talk about price later on, the EcoFlex is definitely not a cheap material. I actually have ordered one in the past, and I was very impressed with the functionality of it and the strength of it. Next would be Dubia, because Dubia is similar to Zen habitats, but I do believe that it's going to be just a little bit less durable than the Zen, the Eco, or the Apex that came before it. And lastly, the reason why I put glass as a 1-star rating for durability is because if you're traveling with a glass enclosure, I think it's way more risky to travel with a glass enclosure than it is with a PVC or wood-ish enclosure like these other examples, just because wood and PVC can absorb a lot more impact and bumps and stuff like that, and of course bangs and bruises as you are moving things around. And so although glass is very strong when it's not broken and would almost be like the strongest out of all these categories when not broken, I think the risk of breaking puts it at a 1-star for me compared to these other ones. And if you crack your glass or the glass breaks, it's pretty much impossible to fix unless like you're a really good handy person. If you pop a hole in a PVC or a wood enclosure, you could easily just cover that over with some tape or fill it in with some wood glue and like a cork to plug the hole or whatever the case may be. All right, so next category, functionality. Now functionality is going to be how well can I decorate this cage? How big is this cage height-wise, width-wise, to get a gradient of temperature as well as easeability to add shelves and climbing places for the gecko. So starting it off with 5 out of 5 stars, I gave it to the Zen habitats, and I think that's partly because they have the biggest opening sliding doors, and functionality includes cleaning up the cage and being able to do things in there. But because the cage is made out of wood or PVC, you could screw in wood branches or even 1x3s, 2x4s, or 2x3s from Home Depot, and you could create shelves within the Zen habitat very easily. Heck, you could even take actual shelves and screw them in and create layers to your cage. And that's pretty much the same with the Dubia and the Eco that come in the subsequent ratings. So Dubia I gave 4 stars to because it also has PVC walls, so you could screw in wood branches to it and move those branches around. I guess in a glass tank you could like glue or hot glue or super glue branches from wall to wall, but then it doesn't make them as movable if you change your mind about the design of the cage, or if you have to clean the cage or take things apart. It's a lot more work, in my opinion, than just unscrewing a screw and then rescrewing it back in if you want to move things around. So the Dubia habitat gets 4 stars, the Eco habitat gets 3 stars, the Apex habitat gets 2 stars, and that's because compared to all these other habitats, the Apex, even though it's PVC and very thick material and going to be the most durable out of any of these cages, the base model that we're comparing here is a 2 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot cube, which makes it a little bit more difficult to create gradients of cool areas, mid areas, and warm areas, high UVB areas, mid UVB areas, low UVB areas, just because you're working with a cube instead of a rectangle. And preferably, in my opinion, I just really like rectangles because you can create a gradient a little better, in my opinion. We're going to ask Pikachu what he thinks at the very end, what he would choose. And lastly, because you cannot screw into glass, I put glass as a 1-star rating as far as functionality goes, because if you need to clean a glass tank, it's very heavy, very difficult to move, very breakable, so you have to be very careful with it. Sometimes a 40-gallon breeder, especially if you're a smaller person or a child, you might need like 2 people to help clean it so you don't drop it on your foot or break it or anything like that. And of course, if you did have to glue pieces of wood in there to create shelves or climbing branches or decor, that would be very difficult to take out and whatnot. So as far as functionality goes, I put glass as a 1-star rating. All right, stackability, which kind of goes along with durability a little bit, but stackability, I give 5 out of 5 stars to Apex Reptile Apex Cages, because if you go to their website, you can see they are the most modular reptile company. And when they go to shows, like I was talking about earlier, the California Reptile Super Show, the Phoenix Reptile Expo, they really make a big demonstration about how strong their cages are, but also versatile. Any direction you want to build, you can. They're modular cages, so you could start with the 2 foot by 2 foot cube, but if you want to build up, you can, and now you have a 4 foot high by 2 foot wide by 2 foot deep house. And if you want to build out in the shape of an L or the shape of a cross or the shape of a bridge, when you see them at a show, check them out. They got the coolest layout. You could do so many different designs with their enclosure, and they also have like drawer levels and stuff. So if you want to put enclosure, drawer level, you can do that. and they all stack very well. And because of how durable it is, you could stack it pretty much as high as you want to go. Whereas with these other options, you are going to be limited how high you could stack these. So the Zen Habitat says that it's stackable, but I don't know if you would want to stack more than 3 Zen Habitats on top of each other. That's just my thought. I don't know what other people have done. I don't know what Zen Habitats recommends, but looking at the thickness and size and durability of the material, I give Zen Habitats a 4 below Apex. The EcoFlex cage, like I said, is actually very durable for being a cheaper product on Amazon, so I put that with 3 stars. The Dubia, I think rightfully so, is going for more of like the lowest price possible, so it might not be the thickest, hardest material, but because it's lightweight, you certainly could stack it higher. But when it comes to stackability, I still think that the thickness of the material and the strength of the material counts the most. And lastly, glass cages get a 1 out of 5 stars for stackability, because you cannot stack glass cages. They're not meant to be stacked unless you add shelving units into the equation, where you can have a shelf and then another shelf and another shelf and put a tank on each shelf. Or you can actually buy kits sometimes that allow you to stack 2 or 3 glass tanks on top of each other. It's nowhere near as easy as working with like these PVC options that we've been talking about. So category number 5 is going to be size of the enclosure. Basically, the biggest enclosure down to the smallest enclosure. And I was really trying to pick enclosures that were around 40 gallons, but then I started to notice that 50 gallons is pretty popular, and then within the same range, I actually have to give Zen Habitats the #1 spot when it comes to size, because within the same price range and functionality range and everything that we've been talking about, you get a 4 foot by 2 foot by 16 inch tall cage, which is perfect for a leopard gecko, because leopard geckos don't need to be super high. A matter of fact, I don't prefer leopard gecko cages to be super high. They like to climb, and they'll climb to the top and then fall. So if they fall into a rock or something from 2 feet above, I prefer it to be under 18 inches for the height of an individual leopard gecko cage. I think he's gonna crawl around this side. There he is. Hi, buddy. What you doing? We'll bring you out for a lot more videos, huh? You and Charmander. We have an orange one that we call Charmander. So Zen Habitats is an 80-gallon enclosure. Dubia gets the 4-star rating because Dubia is a 50-gallon enclosure. Apex is a 3-star rating because it also is a 50-gallon enclosure. But like I said, it's a cube, and I just don't prefer cubes for leopard geckos in this case, right? Rectangular is kind of my preference when it comes to leopard geckos and shorter cages. And I've talked to the owner about this, because the owner's out here in Arizona, and he does say that maybe one day in the future there will be a 36 by 18 by 18 model, going to be closer to like a 39, 40 gallon tank that will also be modular. They do have that size right now, but I just looked on their website and I didn't see it for sale on their website. I actually have one from them, and I'm going to make a video one day when the time is right, showing how to set up a leopard gecko in that. But for the most part, they promote their cube style modular units, which is a 2 by 2 by 2, and then you could expand that out to as many cubes, height, length, width, depth as you want. So second to last on the list would be the glass enclosure, because the glass enclosure is actually a 40-gallon enclosure. And then last on the list with a 1-star rating in the size category is going to be actually the EcoFlex, because it's actually rated as a 39-gallon tank. So out of all of these tanks, you got Zen 80-gallon, Dubia 50-gallon, Apex 50-gallon, Glass 40-gallon, Eco 39-gallon. Now, the last category we're going to talk about before we show who won this competition is affordability. I decided to do price per gallon, and the price includes shipping, taxes, anything like that. So the Zen Habitat is a total of $350 for 80 gallons. The glass tank is $270 for 40 gallons. The EcoFlex is $166 for 39 gallons. The Apex is $260 for 50 gallons. And the Dubia is $203 for 50 gallons. Some of them are like free shipping, but then they charge taxes. Others of them like don't charge taxes, but then you have to pay a little shipping. So this is shipping and taxes all included final price. When it comes down to it, affordability, Dubia actually gets #1. And this is one of the things that I know I've heard Darian pride himself on, that Dubia wants to be able to supply, is better cages and house housing at more affordable cost for reptile keepers and breeders. So I actually gave this category for price to Dubia because they were the lowest at $4.06 per gallon. Next was EcoFlex. That's the $166 one for 39 gallons. That's $4.25 per gallon. The Zen Habitat, 80 monumental gallons, and not even that much more. It's $4.40 per gallon. After that is going to be Apex with $5.20 per gallon, and then a glass tank at a whopping $6.75 per gallon. So when it comes to price per gallon and affordability, Dubia's number 1, Eco's number 2, Zen's number 3, Apex number 4, Glass number 5, in descending order of best bang for the buck. The moment you've all been waiting for, what is the overall rating of all of these categories? Well, I added up all of the star ratings across all 6 of these categories. So we have 6 categories, 5 stars per category. That means any one of these companies and cages that we reviewed today could get up to 30 stars rating out of 30. Dubia got 20 stars out of 30. Zen got 21 stars out of 30. Glass got 11 out of 30. Apex got 19 out of 30. EcoFlex got 17 out of 30 based on all the categories that we went through. So based on the stats that we went through and the ranking system that we went through, the Zen Habitat won by 1 point over the Dubia. Apex was closely following, 2 points behind the leader. EcoFlex was 4 points behind the leader, and the Glass falling way far down. And I think that was mainly just because of the breakability of it, the heaviness of it, falling 10 points below the leader. The question is, if I could get any one of these cages, which cage would it be and why? So my overall pick, drum roll please, would be the Zen Habitat. And I'll tell you why the Zen Habitat. There's a few different reasons. Number 1, visibility is very, very important to me. And so I kind of like glass tanks because of how visible they are, but they're getting a little bit outdated as far as how bulky they are, how heavy they are, how they aren't able to really stack. They take up a lot of space. So I would prefer to have PVC or wood sides like the Zen Habitat so I could screw decor and branches into it, shelves into it, so I could create 3 or 4 layers of a habitat if I wanted to, and branches going everywhere. I just think it would be very, very cool. But I still want the visibility of a full open face. And so the EcoFlex, even though it's nice and cheap, it doesn't have a full open face. The Apex has a fairly full open face, but the Zen and the Dubias have the most open face. And so when it comes to open face, that's really important to me. And that's why if it was me picking, I would prioritize those 2, the Zen and the Dubia. But the other thing that I like about the Zen is I like the fact that you could get it in PVC or wood, and kind of like they have these different colors on their website. They have bamboo, they have black, they have oak. So it's kind of cool that you could mess around with these different looks that you might want. And I'm on their website right now, and it even says you've got a free gift. And if you want, you could claim it for a leopard gecko or a bearded dragon. So when you go to their website, sign up. I'm sure you're going to get some kind of discount for being a first-time customer. Right, Pikachu? Wouldn't you like a Zen Habitat, Pikachu? I think Pikachu would like. I'm going to ask him in a minute which one he would like. The Zen has the customizable sides, customizable look. It's got the full open glass panel, and for relatively within the same price range as these other 40 and 50 gallon tanks, the Zen Habitat is a whopping 80 gallon tank. Now, that might be good or bad for some people depending on whether they have the size for that. But if you were looking at just one animal, one tank, best bang for the buck, best visibility, best lightweight with durability and customizability where you could screw stuff into it, I kind of got to go with the Zen in this instance. And so that would have been my overall pick, would have been the Zen. Now let's talk to Pikachu over here and see what he would have said. Okay, Pikachu, look buddy, we have the Dubia, the Zen, the Glass, the Apex, the Eco. Which one would be your overall pick? Let's narrow it down with licks, okay? So if we get a lick, that means that that competitor moves on, all right? So Dubia, lick, moves on. Zen, lick, moves on. Glass, no lick. No lick for Glass, you guys saw that. Apex, no lick. Eco, lick. So now we have 3. We're down to Dubia, Zen, and Eco. Let's go backwards now. Eco, lick. Zen, he eliminated the Zen. Dubia, lick. Okay. two left. It's a flip of the coin. He either wants the eco or the dubia. If I had to guess, he would probably like the eco because of the less visibility, the higher borders, and animals like to hide, right? So let's start at the top now. Dubia. Oh wait, he's licking. Hold on. His liquor needs adjustments here. We don't want to catch him when he's in a pure licking mood. All right, you ready? You ready to make your final decision? Dubia. Oh, he licked for dubia. Eco. No lick. He chooses the dubia. He goes with Darian. All right. Well, you guys saw it right here. The overall stats go to Zen. My overall pick goes to Zen. But is that really what's important? Because Pikachu's overall pick went to dubia. And I guess at the end of the day, Pikachu is the one living in it, so Pikachu is the one that should get the choice, right? Well, thank you guys so much for being a part of this video. I thought I would do something different and kind of fun, and I want to make other top 5 videos just like this for many different categories regarding leopard geckos, reptiles as a whole, and everything reptile related. So if you liked this, leave a comment below letting me know what you liked, letting me know what you didn't like, if there's any alterations that you might consider that I add to this new style of videoing that I'm going to be doing. And if I missed any cage companies that you would like to recommend that I do a review on, maybe in our next video, also put them in a comment below. So thank you guys so much. I hope to see you very soon in the next video. And until then, have yourself a geeky gecko great day. Peace.